Anatomy Trains invites you to take your career to the next level with Anatomy Trains Structural Integration, ATSI. We're kicking off the next training this September in Maine under the guidance of Tom Myers and our expert team. Come map the pattern and shape the change in this transformational 3-part certification program. Visit anatomytrains.com for details.
Hi, and welcome to I Have a Client Who, Pathology Conversations with Ruth Werner, the podcast where I will discuss your real-life stories about clients with conditions that are perplexing or confusing. I'm Ruth Werner, author of A Massage Therapist's Guide to Pathology, and I have spent decades studying, writing about, and teaching about where massage therapy intersects with diseases and conditions that might limit our clients' health. We almost always have something good to offer, even with our most challenged clients, but we need to figure out a way to do that safely, effectively, and within our scope of practice. And sometimes, as we have all learned, that is harder than it looks. Oh, listeners, I'm so excited. We have a really special treat today. We are not going to be talking about a pathology decision-making process in our normal way, but we will be talking about a serious problem that happens more often than it should in the context of massage therapy. My special guest is a dear friend with whom I've had the opportunity to spend some really deep time. Years ago, when she told me and a small group of other people about a project she was working on, and that project has just come to fruition. So it is with great joy that I introduce you to Teresa Matthews. And Teresa, would you tell us who you are and just give us the kind of credentially, stuff?
I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. I've owned a massage school going on, oh my gosh, 3 decades. Well, 1996. So yes, a long time. And other than a school owner, instructor, national CE provider, in addition to that, on a personal note, I've been an athlete all my life and personal trainer, also a 3rd-degree black belt in martial arts, and other than all of that, I've run the Boston Marathon for the Massage Therapy Foundation in 2018, which in 2019 led me to the World Massage Hall of Fame inductee.
And your history of martial arts and athleticism has a lot to do with our topic. So
Correct.
let me just introduce you. Let me introduce this idea by sharing, and I'm going to paraphrase and I'll get it wrong, but I'm from one of the private Facebook groups that I belong to. A participant recently posted a very, very concerning post about a client whom she had declined because it was out of her hours and she didn't want to stay that late or whatever. And he got very upset and he sent her extremely graphic, explicit, and violent texts that really made her feel extremely threatened. And she did end up reporting it to the police. But it's the kind of thing that no one, regardless of their sex or gender, should ever have to deal with. But because of the funny, weird, often dysfunctional relationships we make between touch and intimacy and sexuality, it's the kind of situation where massage therapists occasionally find themselves. And Teresa, you have now created a resource that addresses some of these, and I'd love for you to talk about that.
Well, it goes a little deeper. The title of the book is Self-Defense for a Massage Therapist. And how that all came about, as I said, I've been an athlete all my life. Before that, I grew up with 3 older brothers who taught me how to protect myself. And I do have an adult son. He is a police officer. And as he went back into the academy to become a defensive tactic instructor for the academy, I got looking through his book and saw so many parallels what I do naturally in the massage treatment room that the police are trained to do, of how to handle people that are out there that don't do what they're supposed to do. So we got to thinking. I said to my son, I said, Johnny, I said, people don't know this. Massage therapists don't know this. And he's what do you call it when somebody gets an honor? Oh, it's an honorary degree.
Mhm.
He's an honorary somewhat of massage therapist. He's been around my massage school since he was 4 years old. So he grew up knowing how I do what I do and how I teach what I teach. And it made so much sense. So over 10 years ago, we started teaching a CE class, protect your assets.
Protect your
Yes,
asset.
indeed. Being able to understand, see those red flags, prevent it before it happens, have the ability to get yourself home safe at night or in the afternoon at any time. And just, as we know, massage therapists are very caring, loving, giving. We want to make people feel better. Being harmed is the last thing on our mind. We're not thinking about the person on our table is wanting to do something inappropriate or touch us inappropriate or grab us or harm us. So that's the basis behind everything that we do. And I can knock on wood, I can be very grateful in the 29 years of being a massage therapist, and I still do. I work on clients, I have a private practice. Not one time has anybody inappropriately touched me, said something to me. And that's what made this come to life because I got to thinking, why? Why has that never happened to me? And how come I'm hearing all of these stories? And that is just what really fired it up. And especially as we are hearing the different stories that come about, we're like, well, is it the way I project right from the initial consultation? Is it the way I am in the massage room? So we started putting all of that together and really making sense of it. And so you're right, this is a great resource and I hope a lot of people take advantage of it and check it out and read it and really reread it. Or come to one of our classes and see it in life and see it firsthand. So
I wonder, Teresa, if you could, if it's possible for you to maybe choose 3 red flags that someone might become aware of between the initial contact and entering the massage room.
from the initial contact to entering it, we've heard stories of the way the client asks questions to the therapist, you know, personal questions. We've got to really secure our personal boundaries and set those personal boundaries and stick to those personal boundaries. We wish to be personable and, respectful. But if a client starts asking you questions that don't really belong or have anything to do with their well being for treatment, kind of nip it in the bud. Say, well, thank you for asking, but I don't wish to talk about me. I want this to be all about you. So that's one. And something else, maybe not a red flag, but I want to just share people that have been touched or grabbed or something happened to them in the massage room. It was not the first time that they've seen that client. So a client may be very nice the very first treatment, come back again, kind of looking around, feeling them out, seeing if they're alone in the establishment. And then the third or fourth or even fifth time, they push the buttons. They go because now they've developed a rapport. They've gotten the therapist to say, "Oh, I've got a regular client now. Nothing's going to happen to me." And then the other thing is a red flag on yourself, making sure you're not giving that client any reason to try anything.
Because of our culture and because of the way it's easy to talk about this in terms of, female interactions, but again, that's not exclusive to, but because of the way we are acclimatized to interact with people in what some of us see as a service industry, it's easy to make ourselves a little bit passive.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the whole piece of what we talk about. I don't wish to make you fearful of doing your job, but awareness is big.
Mhm.
Just take it further than that. Take it into your personal life. As I am where I am right now, I'm able to see things around me. I'm able to make sure nobody's going to sneak up behind me. I'm outside, I'm in my car, but it doesn't matter. So those are all things that we take a little bit extra. We give you the bonus points, if you will. When I'm in my car, as soon as I start my car to drive away, what am I going to do? I'm going to put my seatbelt on. Why? Well, just in case.
Mhm.
Um, it's well, besides it's the law, but I wanna protect myself just in case something happens.
Yeah.
So, one of the things that we do talk about in our class, and we go into more detail in the book, play the what if game. What if something happened?
Mhm.
What if I'm in my treatment room, and the client decided to, grab my arm and pull me close? How am I gonna react to that? Am I gonna be able to get to that door fast enough? Is is there enough space? What's in the room as a weapon if I needed to?
It's horrible to have to think in this way, but if it happens to you, then you realize that it becomes
Absolutely.
necessary. For background information, Teresa and I and a couple of other friends went on a sort of a retreat several years ago, and we just had a kind of a girls' weekend. It was it was terrific.
I
But
think
we
time to
talked a
go
lot
back.
about this project at that point, and you showed us some moves. I would assume in the CE classes there's some physicality.
Yes.
Yeah, and in the book, is there a way to translate that?
We did a lot of pictures. Actually helps us being massage therapists because we know the anatomy the way we do. How the elbow flexes and it's stronger. If it extends and you can pinpoint that into an extension. So there's joint manipulation of how to control a client. Before we share all of that, we talk about not even getting to that point. Good communication with your client. You wanna give them warnings. So, self-defense in itself can be a scary term to some people. We don't want it to be scary. We want you to understand all the facets of it. In my book, in my class, I share the very first day of my martial arts training, the sensei said, "We're gonna teach you how to defend yourself and what to do, but the truest form of self-defense is never having to use it." So, in all my 62 years of being alive on this earth, I've never once gotten into a fight, ever, other than competition.
Right.
And that's another, why was that? We had a class Tuesday, 3 of the girls right in there in the class said, "Oh, yeah, I beat up so and so in high school," and I'm like, "Wow." I can't even think about doing anything. So you figure out how to talk to people. We, as you mentioned already, our our business, our profession, we are customer service. We're customer service based. So being able to understand the clientele, and we even had somebody in a chiropractic office share some things that happened in there. So it's not just the franchises, it's not just a regular establishment, it's not just out calls. It could be in a medical setting. So that's what we wish to happen. We wish for it to never get to a point of having to defend yourself.
So you
So,
go into de-escalation strategies.
yes,
Great.
indeed.
Awesome. I
Yes,
would 100% recommend Teresa's work to any person, any massage therapist who works in a setting where you are alone in a room, because a problem is unlikely to happen, but unlikely doesn't mean it won't happen.
that's
And
true.
so anything we can do with our attitude and the boundaries that we project to prevent such a thing from happening is gonna
Perfect.
be good for us, good for the rest of our clients, and overall good for the profession.
That's right. In the book, I could have gone another 500 pages, but we pulled out some. Every chapter has a story. We do share real live stories that therapists have given us the permission to share with
Yeah.
the world. So I just my whole hope is that you just become aware.
Mhm.
You become understanding that, or don't have the mindset it will never happen to me,
Right.
because we never know. We never, ever, ever know.
Teresa, if someone wanted to find your book, how would they go about doing that?
It is on Amazon, and really simplified, Self Defense for a Massage Therapist is the name of the book.
And if someone wanted to learn more about your continuing education classes, how would they go about that?
You could find me, well, on several social media sites, on Facebook, on Instagram. My name is Teresa Matthews. I play a lot of tennis. So an email that I have set up is simply enough my name, which is Teresa Matthews 10s at gmail.com. Reach out. And even if you just have a question, I'm always here. I'm not going anywhere. So happy to guide you through being safe.
All right. Well, Teresa, I want to thank you for taking some time out of your drive. I know that you are baking in your hot car, but self-defense for massage therapists, all the connecting information will be in the show notes. To me, this feels like if you're working in a setting where you are alone in a room with people, especially if you're alone in the building, is absolutely vital for every kind of practitioner.
Indeed.
All right. Thanks, Teresa. Take care.
Thank you, Ruth.